and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Briefing.
In contravention of the nuclear JCPOA agreement signed by the Obama administration in 2015, the hardline Islamist regime of Iran again tested nuclear-capable medium-range ballistic missiles last Sunday, January 29th. In response, President Donald Trump's new United Nations envoy Nikki Haley has called for an emergency meeting at the UN Security Council. Israeli officials have similarly called for action to be taken against Tehran's repeated provocations. Israeli UN Ambassador Dani Danon said, quote, "The international community must not bury its head in the sand in the face of this Iranian aggression. The Security Council members must act immediately in response to these Iranian actions, which endanger not only Israel, but the entire Middle East," end quote. Prime Minister Netanyahu called it a flagrant breach of the nuclear agreement and Security Council resolutions, calling for sanctions to be immediately reimposed. The agreement states that Iran, quote, "not undertake any activity related to ballistic missiles designed to be capable of delivering nuclear weapons, including launches using such ballistic missile technology," end quote. Iran retorted that because they have no nuclear weapons, the ballistic missiles couldn't possibly be armed with them and are therefore allowed. The missile test, while technically a failure, flew 600 miles before exploding. President Trump has repeatedly called the nuclear agreement with Iran disastrous and one of the dumbest deals he's ever seen. He's promised multiple times either to strictly enforce it or dismantle it entirely. Netanyahu also said the Iranian JCPOA nuclear agreement is seen by many in the Israeli government and around the world as a complete failure, as Iran has continued to progress its ballistic missile testing, has continued supporting terror organizations worldwide, has yet to allow the IAEA probe of high-profile Iranian sites, and has continued pursuing nuclear weapons. In a somewhat related capacity, Prime Minister Netanyahu is set to meet with President Trump on February 15th in Washington, D.C. The announcement comes yesterday from the White House. In receiving the news, Netanyahu released a statement in which he showed his appreciation for the kind invitation and warm words about Israel. Netanyahu continued by saying that, quote, "I look forward to discussing with him the areas of cooperation between us that are so vital to the security and well-being of our two countries," end quote. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer, when announcing the meeting, echoed such sentiments, saying, quote, "Our relationship with the only democracy in the Middle East is crucial to the security of both our nations, and the President looks forward to discussing continuous strategic, technological, military, and intelligence cooperation with the Prime Minister." Chief among the expected topics of discussion will of course be the JCPOA P5+1 Iranian nuclear agreement that both President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu have called disastrous. The peace process with the Palestinians, as well as the potential for moving the United States Embassy in Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, are also supposedly on the list. Despite the Trump administration not yet having reached out to the Palestinian Authority, the PA still believes that it has not shifted its political position under President Donald Trump to support the Israeli right wing as many have predicted it would. Hussam Zomlot, a senior advisor to PA President Mahmoud Abbas, said that the Palestinian expectation is that the long-held U.S. policies with regards to the illegality of the settlements, the status of Jerusalem, and with regards to the contours of the two-state solution will remain. He said that unilateral measures such as settlement expansion and the relocation of the United States Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem would destroy any hope of a two-state solution, and the result would be that all political agreements between Israel and the Palestinian leadership would collapse. Zomlot said the PA would back the peace process as long as it can tell the Palestinian people that there is hope of achieving independence and statehood. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu criticized what he called the leftist media for exaggerating the diplomatic kerfuffle with Mexico over a tweet in which Netanyahu praised President Donald Trump's plan to build a border wall. At a meeting of his Likud party yesterday, Netanyahu said the intent of his tweet was misinterpreted. Trump, he said, had tweeted that the wall stopped illegal infiltration into Israel almost completely, and that in response, Netanyahu tweeted that he was correct. His exact words were, quote, "President Trump is right. I built a wall along Israel's southern border. It stopped all illegal immigration. Great success, great idea," end quote. Mexico is still perturbed over the tweet, however, and its deputy foreign minister called in Israel's ambassador to Mexico, Yoni Peled, to help smooth over the diplomatic tumult. Yuval Rotem, Director General of the Foreign Ministry, will travel today to Turkey where he will hold diplomatic dialogue with officials for the first time in over 6 years. The 3-day visit will include meetings with government officials, the embassy staff in Ankara, and the consulate general in Istanbul. Rotem will also meet with the heads of the Turkish Jewish community and with the governor of Istanbul. Turkey and Israel are working towards normalizing bilateral relations, primarily on the political and economic fronts, and increasing the number of mutual visits. A member of the Turkish cabinet is expected to visit Israel soon. Turkey and Israel announced a reconciliation agreement in June, 6 years after the Mavi Marmara incident in which a raid by Israeli forces on the ship resulted in 10 Turks being killed after they attacked IDF troops. Turkey cut off ties with Israel following the incident.
That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.